the war in Ukraine is a key issue for the international community, obviously, also for the United Nations. And my next guest, I am happy to have with us Csaba Kőrösi, President of the United Nations General Assembly, who just started his new term this month. Congratulations on the position.
Thank you much, Stephanie, and thank you very much for having me.
Yes, absolutely. You're juggling a lot right now. First, I want to get your reaction to the Russian annexation of Ukrainian territory and also Vladimir Putin's speech today. What stood out to you the most?
It's illegal. It's against the letter and spirit of the UN Charter, and it's against the international law. The Charter is very clear on you cannot apply force to attack your neighbor, and you cannot annex a territory of your neighbor through applying force.
Would you have a message for the international community as a whole, as the President of the UN General Assembly at this point?
The member states of the United Nations have taken a position and sent their message already when they called it as an aggression, when they called Russia to withdraw from all territories of the sovereign country named Ukraine. They called the Russian leadership to stop the war, to seek negotiated solutions to any outstanding problem. They also called Russia to allow humanitarian access to those in need, and they also called for increasing nuclear safety on nuclear sites on the territory of Ukraine. It's a very, very clear message.
And this war in Ukraine is leading to so many issues for the people there in that country. We're talking about the first major war in Europe since World War II, leading to a global food crisis. What else can be done for the people there so that they don't go hungry?
The war on Ukraine has changed the thinking of the people in many, many countries. Just the food aspect, the food security aspect you mentioned, Stephanie, is affecting 1,200,000,000 people on the earth. Russia and Ukraine together provided 25% of the grain exports in the world, and the war put it on hold. So what the UN tried to do, and successfully so far, to allow the resumption, renewal of the grains from Ukraine and from Russia. Before the war, the monthly grain export from Ukraine was about 5 to 6 million tons per month. It went to zero, and that skyrocketed the food prices in many, many countries. We have now 10 countries in the world who are in the verge of major famine. With the help of the United Nations, a negotiated deal was brokered which allowed Ukrainian food, Ukrainian grain mostly, and Russian grain and Russian fertilizers coming out from the war zone and reaching the markets. It pushed down the prices, and it alleviated the immediate dangers of the famine in many countries. But we need to make sure this deal will last beyond the 120 days which was designed for, because we are interested not only in the immediate effects, positive effects of the deal, but to make sure the next year will also can produce the necessary amount of food.
Absolutely. Hopefully that can be sustained, especially since we are well into this war now. It's been quite some time. Let's shift to climate change. That's another issue that's coming up out of this war. What more can the UN do in response to climate change? I know that's something that you're focusing on heavily.
Very heavily, because it is perhaps one of the major challenges, fatal existential challenges of humanity today. And the UN is in the forefront of the climate diplomacy, organizing both the mitigations, it means reduction of the emission of greenhouse gases, and the adaptation. It is the investments, it is the policies, it is the efforts of different countries to seek how better to survive the forthcoming years. The danger is very real, because the target, what we pinpointed for ourselves, not to cross 1.5 Celsius in global climate warming, most probably will be crossed. By all accounts, the big question is how far we go and whether or not we can return from that peak. For the next 20-25 years, the global temperature will rise, for sure, with all its consequences. And the people in Florida and people in California can tell you what does it mean to see more and more energies being conveyed by hurricanes, winds, and many other natural disasters. So the big question now, while we try to mitigate the emissions, how to make sure the fragile communities will survive the forthcoming 20-25 years. Therefore, the so-called adaptation will come to the forefront. It will be one of the big issues in Sharm el-Sheikh as well, where the next climate summit will take place. And to make sure we can do it, we have to understand that 80% of the climate change is being felt through water. Also in Florida, people know it. So we have to improve our water management system. We have to learn how to integrate our water and climate policies.
Absolutely. Sir, we want to thank you for your time. Thank you so much for being here. So many issues coming out of the war, from climate change, war itself, and hunger. And I know the UN's message is hope, so we hope that this gets resolved very soon. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.